Welcome to the IT Factor. We're Jemmy and Nye, exploring a new blog post by Mr. Len Kaplan, CEO of CDML and MSP in Queens, NY, offering network management, VoIP and UCAS, cybersecurity, compliance, IaaS, cloud, and Microsoft 365 and Azure. If you're a small business owner or manage IT for a growing organization, this deep dive is for you. Stay tuned.
It's great to be here. I think what Kaplan's talking about in this blog post is something a lot of small business owners might not be thinking about, but really need to.
Right. You're going about your day, selling your products, making your customers happy. But behind the scenes, there's this whole world of cyber threats that could really disrupt your business. And what really grabbed my attention was how Kaplan connected this to that recent U.S. government PSA about foreign cyber threats. It definitely made me sit up and take notice.
Well, it's not just a PSA. The U.S. government is actually taking some pretty major steps to bolster cybersecurity, even going as far as President Biden signing an executive order in January to strengthen the nation's cyber defenses.
An executive order. Okay. Now that sounds serious. Should I be worried about my little online shop? What kind of threats are we even talking about?
The PSA doesn't get into specifics, but it's clear they're concerned about the growing risk of cyber attacks, particularly from foreign entities. But here's what's important for you. This executive order isn't just about protecting government systems. It's pushing for stronger security measures across the board, which ultimately benefits everyone, including small businesses like yours.
So this executive order is kind of setting a good example for the rest of us.
Exactly. For example, it's mandating things like stronger authentication methods for federal agencies. That means getting rid of those simple, easy-to-guess passwords. It's also pushing for wider use of sophisticated tools that monitor for and block threats.
That makes sense. It's like raising the bar for security across the board. But, all this sounds pretty expensive and complicated. Is this really something a small business owner like me needs to worry about? I'm not exactly running a Fortune 500 company here.
And that's exactly the point Kaplan's making in his blog post. Small businesses are increasingly becoming targets of cyber attacks. The thing is, you might not have the same resources as a big corporation to invest in high-level cybersecurity, which makes you a more vulnerable target.
So, in a way, small businesses are almost the weakest link.
You hit the nail on the head. Kaplan actually uses that very phrase in his blog post. Your cybersecurity is only as strong as your weakest link.
Ooh, I like that. It's a good reminder that security isn't just about having the fanciest tech. It's about being aware of all the potential vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So what does a weak link actually look like in the real world? I mean, for someone like me.
It could be a lot of things. It could be outdated software on your computer that hasn't been updated with the latest security patches. It could be one of your employees clicking on a phishing link in an email. It could even be something as simple as a poorly secured Wi-Fi router in your office.
Speaking of routers, Kaplan's blog post also mentioned some concerns about Chinese manufactured routers, especially TP-Link, which seems like a pretty popular brand. Why is that a concern?
Well, there's growing scrutiny from the government regarding the security of certain devices, including routers manufactured in China. They're concerned about potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited by foreign actors. Now, this doesn't mean every device from China is automatically bad, but it does highlight the importance of being aware of where your technology comes from and understanding its security reputation.
So it's not just about the brand name.
Yeah.
But also doing a little research into the company behind it and their track record on security.
Exactly. It's about making informed decisions.
Yeah.
And not just going with the cheapest or most convenient option.
Okay, that makes sense. But even if I swap out my router, there's still a whole world of other potential weak links you mentioned earlier. How can a small business owner possibly stay on top of all of that? It feels a little overwhelming, to be honest.
I get it. And that's where things like secure cloud services and AI-driven threat detection come into play. These are the kinds of solutions that can really level the playing field for small businesses.
Those sound very high-tech. Can you explain those concepts in a way that makes sense for a non-techie small business owner like me? What do those things actually do?
Think of cloud services as having a super secure digital vault for all your important data. Customer information, financial records, anything you don't want falling into the wrong hands. As for AI, imagine having a tireless digital detective constantly patrolling your network, looking for any signs of suspicious activity. And the great thing is, AI can often stop threats before they even become a problem, kind of like a pre-crime unit for your business.
That's a pretty cool way to think about it. But all of this still sounds pretty complicated. How does a small business owner like me actually put all of this into practice?
Well, you don't have to become a cybersecurity expert overnight. That's where a company like CDML comes in. They specialize in providing these kinds of services to small businesses, taking the complexity out of cybersecurity and making it manageable.
They're like the IT equivalent of a personal trainer,
Yeah,
helping you get into shape security-wise.
I like that analogy. They assess your specific needs,
Hmm.
create a customized plan, and then work with you to implement it. They basically take care of all the technical stuff so you can focus on running your business.
Okay, that's a huge relief to hear. So CDML, they're the same company whose CEO wrote the blog post we're talking about.
Right.
What specifically do they offer?
They offer a whole suite of IT services specifically tailored for small businesses. This includes everything from managing your network to ensuring your data is backed up and secure. And they're particularly strong in the areas we've been discussing: cybersecurity, cloud services, and AI-driven threat detection.
So they can actually help small businesses implement those same high-level security measures the government is talking about in the executive order.
Exactly. And that's why I think this blog post is so important. Kaplan is essentially saying, look, the government is raising the bar on cybersecurity. And here's how you, as a small business owner, can rise to meet that challenge.
It's like they're providing a roadmap for small businesses to navigate this new cybersecurity landscape.
Precisely. And they're doing it with a focus on small businesses, understanding the unique challenges and resource constraints you face.
One thing that impressed me was that they don't just use any old technology. They partner with industry leaders like Microsoft and Dell, which gives me confidence that they're using top-of-the-line solutions.
Absolutely. Partnering with established tech companies ensures they're offering reliable and proven solutions, so you're not getting some experimental, untested system.
I'm curious, how do they address the weakest link problem? We talk about those phishing scams. How do you prevent employees from clicking on bad links?
That's where employee training comes in. CDML helps train your staff to recognize phishing attempts. And they implement systems that can filter out many of those malicious emails before they even reach your employees' inboxes.
Oh, that's smart. It's like having an extra layer to defense at the front door.
Exactly. And it's about more than just technology. It's about creating a culture of security within your company where everyone understands the importance of being vigilant and following best practices.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem. Small businesses are increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks, and we've talked about some of the solutions: stronger passwords, secure cloud services, AI threat detection, employee training. But how do you know if your current setup is up to par?
That's a great question, and that's where a cybersecurity assessment comes in. A company like CDML can come in and take a look at your current system, identify any vulnerabilities, and recommend steps you can take to improve your security posture.
So it's like getting a checkup for your business's IT health.
Precisely. And the best part is, many MSPs, including CDML, offer these assessments for free. It's a great way to get a snapshot of where you stand and understand what areas you might need to focus on.
That sounds incredibly helpful, especially for a small business owner who's already juggling a million things.
Exactly. Cybersecurity doesn't have to be another burden. By partnering with the right experts, you can actually free up your time and mental energy to focus on what you do best, running your business.
So, to summarize, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the growing threat of cyber attacks, the government's response, and how those initiatives can inform your own cybersecurity strategy. We've explored what those weak links look like in the real world, and how a company like CDML can help small businesses like yours take proactive steps to stay safe. It feels like cybersecurity is one of those things. It's easy to put on the back burner when you're busy running a business.
I understand that, but it's important to remember that a cyber attack can have a devastating impact on a small business.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking financial losses, damage to your reputation, even legal liability.
Exactly. And it's not just about big companies anymore. Small businesses are increasingly becoming targets because they often lack the resources to have robust security measures in place.
And so, ignoring cybersecurity is kind of like leaving your front door wide open, hoping nobody with bad intentions walks by.
That's a great analogy. And the thing is, cybercriminals are getting more sophisticated all the time. They're constantly finding new ways to exploit vulnerabilities and trick people into giving up sensitive information.
So,
What's the main takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that cybersecurity is not something you can afford to ignore. It's an investment in the future of your business.
Right.
And it's not as overwhelming as it might seem. By taking some basic steps, like those outlined in Kaplan's blog post, and potentially partnering with an MSP like CDML, you can significantly reduce your risk and protect your business from these evolving threats. Okay, so be proactive, be informed, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Any other words of wisdom for our listeners?
Yes. One of my favorite lines from the blog post is where Kaplan says, "Don't wait for a breach. Act now to fortify your defenses."
I love that. It's a call to action. Really, don't wait until it's too late.
Exactly. By being proactive, you're taking control of your cybersecurity destiny, rather than letting it control you.
So true. And if you're feeling a little lost or unsure where to begin, remember that CDML offers free consultations. You can reach them at 718-393-5343 or visit their website at www.cdml.com.
And they can help you assess your specific needs and develop a plan that's right for your business.
Great advice. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of cybersecurity for small businesses. Thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure being here. And remember, a secure business is a thriving business. Stay safe out there.